So the reason I became a financial advisor, short and sharp, I've always loved money. I've always been really good at maths and I've always been really interested by it. But I've also got a very strong passion for helping people. So I've worked a lot in the fitness industry and obviously in the financial advice industry. And those two are very, very similar, where you're helping someone reach their goals and you get to see the rewarding end of that. Where you've helped someone buy their first home or retire earlier or, quit their job that they hate is stressful, or help their kids out or travel the world. It's a rewarding thing that money can do. But ever since I was young, I've had a obsession with numbers and money. And I was 2 or 3 years old, I think. I used to count my dad's 5-cent coins as a kid. So I've always had that obsession and that passion for money and numbers. And then mirroring that up with helping people, it just seemed like the perfect job for me. Yeah, so an average day for an expat financial advisor is, I'd argue there's not an average day. Every single day seems to be so different. I mean, day one, you might be speaking to someone who's moving to New York. It's the first time they've ever lived overseas and they're not sure what to do with their super or with their property, and they're so excited and so nervous about the move. And then the next day you're, stuck into a statement of advice and you're preparing the strategy and doing the problem solving for someone, who's been living in Saudi Arabia for 10 years and they want to retire next year. So no 2 days are the same in the expat financial advice space. And I think that's the best thing about it. But a typical day for me is generally problem solving for my clients, trying to get them the best outcome with their money, but most importantly, helping them get to the goal that they're trying to achieve. So whether that be retire early or move countries or repatriate to Australia, it's about understanding what they want to do and what drives them and what motivates them. And then how can I be the tool to help them get there faster or get there in the time frame that they want. So the thing that I enjoy most about advising expat clients all over the world is the different people that you get to meet and the different people that you get to talk to every single day. I've worked previously in my career a lot with retirees, and don't get me wrong, I enjoy the job very, very much, but very, very similar cases that you deal with day in, day out. I've also worked a lot with high wealth accumulators, and again, people can be quite similar in what they want to do in that sense. Whereas when we look at expats, no two are the same. The balance between the flexibility of being an expat, of picking up and moving countries and taking new jobs across the world, and balancing that with the stability of managing their money and making sure they are setting themselves up for the future is a really, really interesting challenge. And it's really what I suppose motivates me every day to keep doing what I'm doing, to keep helping these people. But yeah, I think that's one of the biggest benefits of being an expat advisor, is that no two client is the same, no two strategies are the same, and it's about understanding that person in front of you and what they're trying to achieve. So we deal with a lot of challenging cases and challenging clients sometimes with their situations quite regularly, because the expat life is that of flexibility and moving all over the place for job offers or new experiences or new opportunities. So a client comes to mind who I think he'd lived in 6 or 7 countries before coming to us. So the US, Canada, Denmark, Australia. He was currently in Singapore. The nature of his job was very malleable, could change at any point in time. So he never really had more than 12 months certainty on where he was going to be. And when you factored in the fact that he had assets in multiple countries, a retirement scheme in Denmark, he had superannuation in Australia, CPF in Singapore, he had all of these different things and different components going on. And a lot of the time with expats, they'll know or have a sense of, I want to be back in Australia in 5 years or 10 years, or, they have an idea of where they want to go. Whereas this client could see 12 months ahead and not much further from there. But I think the really valuable thing with that challenging case and working together was me and him have worked side by side very, very consistently, because he keeps me up to date on what's happening with his work and where he'd expect to be in the next 12 months and what the changes might be, and us being that sounding board for him to bounce ideas off and to say, hey, well, if I did get another job offer back in the US, what would that look like? And I think when it comes to these challenging cases, the more that we can understand the consequences of your decisions before you make the decision, the better. And I think that was a really rewarding thing for him. He's understood a lot more about, if he was to take a lowing payer job that maybe didn't move him around as much, what would that mean for him and his family? But yeah, definitely when you're dealing with, almost 10 10 different countries, different assets, it starts to add up, and definitely adds the time and the complexity to the situation. I think one of the rewarding situations I've worked with, a client comes to mind. They were living in Singapore. They had a property back in Australia. They weren't sure if they wanted to sell it or not. Their end goal was to move back to Australia in 5 or 6 years and buy their dream home. And that's really what they wanted to strive for. Working with us and going through different models and different scenarios and different options, we ended up changing their strategies a few times based on a few variables that came in. So they ended up selling the property, getting much more than what they thought they were going to for it, then wanted to buy the dream home and then changed their mind and wanted an investment. But the rewarding part of it all, we were there with them every single step, providing them that confidence with their money. And obviously, when you buy something like property, it's a big decision. You know, if you're investing $800,000 or $1 million or $2 million, whatever it's going to be, it's a big move. So it was really rewarding because they were very, very thankful at the end of the process as they got the guidance from us, and we could just take that stress off their shoulders. And we see that quite often. It's the rewarding part of the job for me. It's not helping you get more dollars in your bank account. Obviously, that is a good thing, but it's relieving that stress and giving you a better relationship with your money. And I feel like that's what we did with them. They came to us, you know, you could tell they didn't want to talk about their money as much and they were stressed about it and not sure what to do. And by the end of it, you know, they'd email us and say, Will, we're doing this and we're doing that. And you could see that their whole persona around their relationship with their money had changed. And I think that's the really rewarding part, because we can make people have that, you know, positive impact on their financial future. And then that just starts to compound massively as the years go on. So an expat financial advisor can be a fair bit different to your standard financial advisor, especially here in Australia. The majority of financial advisors or wealth managers, even in Australia, are transactional. You give me $1 million and I'll invest it for you. And that's really the end of it. What we do is, yes, the transactions, it is a big part of what we do, making sure your super's invested better, or you're using your surplus cash, or, you know, you're paying down your debt. The transactions are important. But we go more to that level of understanding you and, you know, why are we making those transactions, and what's the strategy behind that, and what's the purpose behind that, and what's the outcome with your money. What we do as expat advisors is coaching you around your money. We're guiding you, we're educating you, we're helping you lift up your financial literacy wherever we can. The second that you add in multiple jurisdictions and you become an expat with your money, the complexity level exponentially increases. So understanding the consequences of your decisions, not just financially and what the financial impact will be, but the impact for your lifestyle as well. You know, what does that mean for where the kids are going to go to school? You know, do you have your health insurance is still valid or still active in these different countries? And what would that mean if something were to go wrong with you or your family? You know, making sure that we can, again, relieve the stress of people's, not only their money, but their journey and where they're traveling to. And, you know, eventually if they come back to Australia, what that looks like as well. That's the main thing of what we do, and what an expat advisor will guide, you know, our clients through is the financial decisions, but also the lifestyle decisions, and coaching them and guiding them and educating them every single step along the way. There's a common misconception, you know, definitely here in Australia and around the world as well, that financial advice is for the uber wealthy. And that is completely incorrect. So financial advice is for everyone. Every single person can get guidance and coaching on their money, their relationship with their money, their spending, their budgeting, their investing, you know, what would happen if we did one thing as opposed to another, you know, understanding the consequences of our decisions and where we're on track for the future. Every single person can benefit from that. So what I would say is if you're stressed about your money, or you're thinking you need to take that next step with your money, or want to learn more about your money, reach out to a financial advisor. And obviously if you have any expat component where you are thinking about or already have moved to another country, reach out to someone like us as expats financial advisors, so we can engage you and say, right, well, this is what you need to think about, and these are the main steps that you could be taking. These are the opportunities in front of you, but also these are going to be the challenges in front of you. The way that our process works when we meet with new people, we don't charge a fee for any of the initial consultations where we can have these discussions. And majority of time there can be that cost to benefit ratio, and we're not going to charge a fee if we can't provide you that, you know, benefit back and then some. And most people that will be there, but for some people it's not. And for those people, we'll say to them, you know, well, based on what you're doing, this is what you need to consider. You know, this is the education around what you're doing, and this is where you'd need to get to, you know, to start taking those next steps. But whether you're 55 years old and you want to retire soon and you've got $10 million, or whether you're 25 and you've never invested before. Everyone can get financial advice, and the sooner that you start planting these seeds and building your knowledge and building your confidence around your money, the better, because it will compound massively. The best time to plant a tree was yesterday. The second best time is today. So we see clients living all over the world, and one of those destinations is Australia. So just because you're not an expat doesn't mean that we can't help you. We specialize in expats, and we are one of the only places that do so. We have that expert knowledge. But if you're still an Australian living at home and you want to do better with your money, there is no reason why we can't help you as well. And as I've touched on, every single person can do better with their money and have a better relationship with their money. And the more effort or time that you put into learning about your money, learning about yourself, and what you want to do with your future, the more that you can then put into someone coaching you and guiding you and educating you along that path, the better. So just because you're not an expat doesn't mean we can't help you. If you live anywhere in the world, including here in Australia, we can definitely help you with your money. So I have a few passions outside of work. Primarily, I'm quite active in sport. Even me and my wife, we love just going for a walk most days, or going for runs, or we do boxing quite a fair bit as well too. But outside of that, I live in Wollongong in New South Wales, so a beautiful beach town. Unfortunately, I can't surf very well at all, but going for a swim in the summer is always good. And then just your standard, we've got a dog that we love taking for walks all the time around Wollongong. It's a beautiful spot for things like that. Your standard Netflix and whatnot on a Saturday night. But me and my wife highly value travel. So at this stage in our life, we are prioritizing travel as one of the main things we want to do, trying to take as many trips as we can and see the world, as fast as we can before we start having kids, effectively. So going to Japan at the end of the year is the next one. We're doing 2 weeks over the Christmas and New Year's break that we are budgeting for and looking very much forward to.